Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we are going to be doing my NBA award show, but this time it will be not the postseason, not mid-season report or anything, it's the preseason. So we're going to be looking at basically my predictions for all the awards in this upcoming season. You know, that includes the Rookie of the Year award, Most Improved Player, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, all the NBA teams. And then we're going to be projecting the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference standings. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start off with the Rookie of the Year. We have Milos Teodosic, Jared Allen, and Ben Simmons. And Jared Allen, I think, could be, he's really the underdog of this Rookie of the Year, which is why he's in the vote, because he's at the Nets. He's playing for the Nets right now. He's a pretty incredible player, and there's him and D'Angelo Russell could possibly link up for many points, which could result in Jared Allen winning Rookie of the Year. We also have Milos Teodosic, who could also win Rookie of the Year because he's obviously playing on the Clippers. He has that experience. He's already had a pretty well done preseason so far, so I really like how he's going. And then we have obviously Ben Simmons, who I think he dropped about 9 assists, I want to say, in his preseason debut. And I think he could be a pretty incredible player. Notice we do not have Lonzo Ball or Markelle Fultz. I think Markelle Fultz will probably end up getting injured this season just because he just seems like that type of player. The 76ers have had bad luck with that type of stuff, including players like Nerlens Noel and, of course, Joel Embiid. And I think the same thing might happen with Markelle Fultz. And then Lonzo Ball, I'll be honest, I see him as a bust. So, who do we have? Jared Allen, Milos Teodosic, Ben Simmons. The runner-up is actually Milos Teodosic, and the winner is, of course, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is just an incredible player. He's coming off of last season, and I've heard people say, the sideline report of the 76ers, Molly Sullivan, has said that Ben Simmons is ready to play. That's what's been reported, and she, of course, is a sideline reporter. I've heard many reports saying Ben Simmons is ready. Ben Simmons can dunk now. He's just incredible, and the 76ers staff has been working with him for a year, which is something not many rookies get, and he's got because obviously he wasn't eligible for being a rookie last year because he didn't play any games that season. Moving on to our Most Improved Player award, we have our 3 candidates of D'Angelo Russell, Chris Dunn, and Rodney Hood. I'm going to start off with talking about why I think D'Angelo Russell might win it, and that is because of the fact that he's obviously a fresh start from coming off the Lakers, and now he's on the Nets. I'll show you where the Nets finish. It's pretty big, and he's a possibility. Then we also have Chris Dunn, who's coming into it. You notice how all these 3 players, they're coming into new situations. Chris Dunn is coming into a new situation in Chicago, and he's going to possibly take a big step up from possibly being one of the considered busts of that draft last year. And he's stepping into the new situation, obviously being partnered with Zach LaVine in the backcourt, and they'll be looking to lead that Bulls team, and then hopefully next year they'll get someone like Marvin Bagley to join their team, and we'll see what happens from there. And then you have Rodney Hood, Rodney Hood is a great player coming in for Gordon Hayward, who's left the team. Rodney Hood is a great player. I think his 3-point percentage will go up. I think overall he will just grow as a player because he's coming into that new position on the team. Obviously, Gordon Hayward's gone, and Joe Johnson is aging. You could even say the same thing about Joe Ingles. But he's coming in that shooting guard, sometimes small forward position, and he's looking to take over the team. And other players around him, they're known for great passing players. And I think he could possibly win Most Improved Player, but who wins it? Runner-up will be Rodney Hood, and the winner is, of course, D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell is just such quality of a player, and I can't see him not winning this award. But Rodney Hood and Chris Dunn definitely do have competition for that. Moving on to Defensive Player of the Year. Our 3 players here, Rudy Gobert, Kawhi Leonard, Hassan Whiteside. And I'll go through in order. I think Rudy Gobert could win it because I actually thought he should have won it last year. His ability to block shots, his ability to just be an overall fantastic player on that defensive end, provide so much impact for the team. Rudy Gobert's he's gonna just provide so much impact for his team, obviously for the Jazz, and obviously again with Gordon Hayward gone, he's looking to even provide bigger defense in the role that he is, and that's why I think he could win it. Kawhi Leonard's always an option. Kawhi Leonard every single year. He's just kind of that guy who, you're in the running. Yes, you are. It's Kawhi Leonard, obviously, because he's just that. I thought, he should probably win a Defensive Player of the Year every year, to be honest. Just because he's the best defensive player in the league. I think there's no doubt about that. And Kawhi Leonard, obviously, he can guard anyone, especially forwards, even guards. He can guard, and you can switch him onto anyone, and he'll provide that defense. And even players like LeBron James have reduced stats against Kawhi Leonard. And then we have Hassan Whiteside finally, who is just insane at blocking shots. He can just do it. I thought he should have won Most Improved Player a couple of years back. However, now he's looking to, provide so much impact on the Heat team. And they're looking to make a push for the playoffs, so I could see him stepping in and just being a beast on that at that center position. Moving on to Coach of the Year. This is an interesting one, Coach of the Year, because it's the toughest award to predict, in my opinion. Just because Coach of the Year, it's like, you really have to think who's going to be good or who's going to take a step up. Obviously, coaches like Mike Budenholzer has won it because the Hawks took a big step up. There's just been, over the same thing with the Rockets coach, can't think of his name, Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni won it, and he was just unbelievable what he did with that Rockets team and how far he took them. But it's always a tough one to predict. So we have Tyronn Lue, Doc Rivers, and Billy Donovan. And I'll go through in order. Tyronn Lue, obviously, because the Cavaliers, he's just incredible. And if the Cavaliers could possibly be unbelievable next year. My dark horse is Doc Rivers for this one, just because I put him in there because I think the Clippers can make a push. Even beating out teams like the Timberwolves, and possibly the beating teams like the Timberwolves in terms of seeding. And Doc Rivers is a dark horse. And then we have Billy Donovan, who is just unbelievable what he can do this year with Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Paul George. Our runner-up for this one is Tyronn Lue. And our winner is, of course, Billy Donovan, just because I feel like he could do so much with that team, also having Steven Adams at center. If you look at the team a couple of years back with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and also Serge Ibaka, they didn't really have anyone besides that. Yes, you could argue James Harden, but you have to remember James Harden wasn't that great of a player back then because the Thunder didn't believe in him as much. And Carmelo Anthony and Paul George are 1,000 times better than James Harden was, until obviously he got that trade to the Rockets. However, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony, plus the Steven Adams is kind of like that Serge Ibaka. And you also have Andre Roberson, who will provide defense. I think this team could really make a push for possibly the third seed. And I think pretty much everyone has the Thunder as either the third or the fourth seed. Maybe the fifth seed. Maybe you have the Timberwolves beating them out. But I definitely have Billy Donovan as my winner just because of how incredible his team is and how incredible he could possibly get his team in the playoffs and really in the upcoming season. Moving on, we have Sixth Man of the Year. One of the hardest awards to predict, just like Most Improved and Coach of the Year. Those are the three hardest ones to predict. I'd probably say Coach of the Year is definitely the hardest. And then probably Sixth Man and then Most Improved Player. But maybe Sixth Man and Most Improved Player can swap. But we're going to decide our Sixth Man of the Year. And in my award show, we are going to have Eric Gordon, Tristan Thompson, and Patrick Beverley. We're going to start in order. And Eric Gordon, he's going to be another player coming off the bench, obviously behind Chris Paul and James Harden. He won it last year, and he could be like that type of player like Lou Williams who just repeats it. Eric Gordon, he's just a fantastic player on the offensive side. He can shoot the 3 ball. And also, you also have to remember, he's also coming behind Trevor Ariza, too. So he has a lot of area to work. A lot of minutes can be spread in that shooting guard, small forward position for what he will play. Also, if Chris Paul, if you want to rest him a little, you could bring Eric Gordon minutes in the lineup and switch James Harden to point guard. So he'll be playing a lot of minutes this upcoming season, possibly about 30 minutes. And it'll be interesting to see what Mike D'Antoni does with him, because he could also bring him, have him start, but most likely he'll play him off the bench, and I think he'll just be just like last year, a fantastic player for the Rockets. Tristan Thompson, also another one. Obviously, he's behind players like Kevin Love, obviously playing the center position, and then you have LeBron James, probably small forward, with Jay Crowder, probably power forward. And originally, I probably had Jay Crowder win this award, because Jay Crowder, he was a fantastic starter for the Celtics. And if you look on how good of a player he is, in the Carmelo NBA basically analysis of the player, they had him as a close to an all-star, borderline all-star they had him as. And if you looked at him, he's above average on almost everything. When it comes to the defensive side of the game, he's awesome. Offensive side, he's awesome. And it's just a player, I love how the Cavaliers picked him up. And they could do a lot with him. But obviously they're putting him in the starting lineup, meaning Tristan Thompson will get a chance coming off the bench to show what he can do. Obviously, he didn't have that great finals, though. But he will be coming off the bench. And then we had Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley, I believe, should be coming off the bench behind Milos Teodosic. And obviously, Milos Teodosic is my runner-up for Rookie of the Year. And now we have Patrick Beverley as a sixth man coming behind Milos, because he will get a lot of minutes, Patrick Beverley. And he's always a contender for that award. And he was even last year behind a player like James Harden. He was behind him, yet he was putting up fantastic numbers. But my winner for this award is going to be Tristan Thompson, just because, excuse me, just because of the fact that Tristan Thompson, he can just do, he's just a fantastic player for the Cavaliers when it comes to if you need to rebound the ball, or really if you need to provide offensive production. He didn't have that great of a finals. However, behind Kevin Love, he'll be played a bunch of minutes, and I think he'll definitely take over this award. Obviously, I said Jay Crowder would have won this award, but he's starting now, meaning that Tristan Thompson could possibly win the award. So I'll just quickly overview it. Rookie of the Year, we have a runner-up of Milos Teodosic, winner Ben Simmons, and third place Jared Allen. Jared Allen, more of a dark horse than anything. I wanted to include him because of the fact he's a dark horse. But that's probably going to go to someone like a Markelle Fultz or a Lonzo Ball, or even a player like Dennis Smith. Most improved player, in third, Chris Dunn, then Rodney Hood, D'Angelo Russell. I think that will be like that. Defensive player, Hassan Whiteside, Kawhi Leonard, and then Rudy Gobert. You could also add someone like Draymond Green in there too. But I think that, I don't know, I just like players like Hassan Whiteside and Kawhi Leonard and Rudy Gobert. I just think they have more production on that defensive end than Draymond Green does, even though Draymond is a fantastic player. Coach of the Year, Doc Rivers, Tyronn Lue, Billy Donovan. But like Rookie of the Year, we have a dark horse in this, which is Doc Rivers. I don't think Doc Rivers will be in the conversation, but he could possibly be in that conversation if the Clippers have an above-average season. And then we have Sixth Man of the Year, Patrick Beverley, Eric Gordon, Tristan Thompson. You could even say Tristan Thompson is a little bit of a dark horse for this award, but I don't think he's that much of a dark horse. I actually think he's going to take this award because Thompson, he's just a fantastic player, as I said before. And now we're going to move on to our third, second, and first All-NBA teams. It's interesting, I'll tell you. It is interesting. But what do I want to start off with? Guards or centers? Let's go guards, and then we're going to go head towards the center in each of the teams. You have to remember with these All-NBA teams is that these are picked based on how I think the teams are going to do, how I think the production for their teams could be, and yeah, that's pretty much it. let's get right into it. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think I am. The one thing that I'm not including the player, it was between Joel Embiid and Kristaps Porzingis to not include. And this will give you a hint on a player that will be in there. But I decided not to include Joel Embiid just because I think he could get in there, but I'm not sure if he'll play all 82 games. I'm not sure if he'll even play 40 games. So that has to see. But third All-NBA team, guard Stephen Curry. I think there's just so many guards in this league. It's an abundance of guards in the league, I should say. And Stephen Curry, he's a great player and all, but Kevin Durant's just going to overshadow him for the season. And Kevin Durant's just the best player on the Warriors. I'll put it at that. The other guard is Damian Lillard. Now, I decided Damian Lillard because he's the Trailblazers team in a nutshell. It's all about Damian Lillard on that team. And, again, he might be higher, however, there's so many guards in the league. And then in our forwards, we have Blake Griffin as our forward. I think he'll get it back to All-NBA level. And then we have Anthony Davis. Could be a surprising one, but there's just other players in the league that will take a step up from where Anthony Davis is. And I'm actually an Anthony Davis supporter. I'm a Pelicans fan. But I just don't think Anthony Davis can be that level. And then we have Kristaps Porzingis at center, who I think they'll really want to include him in the team. He's the leader of the Knicks now. He's the player the Knicks franchise wants to keep, and the player they're rebuilding around. So he'll get all the touches on the basketball. Second All-NBA team, though, at guard, newly Celtic, Kyrie Irving. He'll be a lot in isolation drills and whatnot. But, again, I just don't see him making first All-NBA team because there's more guards better than him. But second All-NBA team, that's very good for Kyrie Irving. And I think, yes, he will be a great player for the Celtics next season. James Harden at the other guard position. He's just, he'll be a great player. Obviously, I think he'll take a step back just because they'll have Chris Paul on their team. So I don't see him getting first All-NBA team. However, second All-NBA team, definitely a realistic accomplishment for him. At forward, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. But Giannis, he could possibly win MVP. He's another underdog for MVP, a dark horse possibility. Also, a player like Blake Griffin's an underdog for MVP, considering Chris Paul's gone. But Giannis is, he's definitely a player that could do that. Obviously, he's taking over that Bucks franchise, and you'll see by the record, he's going to do stuff for the team. The other forward, this one was a controversial pick. I picked Kevin Durant on the second All-NBA team. You'll see when I get to the first one. But he's the best player on the Warriors, however, I just don't see him as a top two small forward in the league. I can't. And then center, we have DeMarcus Cousins, just because there aren't many really good centers in the league, are there? Again, you could put Joel Embiid, but I'm not sure if he'll play every game. So DeMarcus Cousins it is. Even Porzingis might even take that center position. But I think DeMarcus Cousins will be a pretty good, nice partnership with Anthony Davis. Moving on, though, to the first All-NBA team. At guard, we have John Wall. Yes, I think he'll make a first All-NBA team. He's just an incredible player. The speed he has on the court, just his ability to take over a game for the Wizards. And we saw what he did last year, even in the playoffs. He's just incredible. He leads that Wizards team. He's a leader. I think he's probably the best guard in the league. The best point guard in the league. Maybe only behind Russell Westbrook. But John Wall is just a fantastic player. Just anyone would want him on the team. He can lead any team. And Russell Westbrook didn't get past even the first round against the Rockets. John Wall carried his team to do that. And yes, you say, okay, they had Bradley Beal. But John Wall is a player who is just incredible. Let's put it at that. But our other guard is going to be Russell Westbrook just because he put up an MVP season last year. I think he'll possibly do it again. Reduced numbers, yes. But he'll still have he'll have a third of the touches. However, Russell Westbrook, same thing with John Wall, just the athleticism he puts on the court. and he's just an incredible player. And then our forward, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, I picked him over Kevin Durant for the first All-NBA team just because he just provides so much for the Spurs on the defensive side on the court. That's why I really picked him, because his defense wins championships. And then our other forward has to be LeBron James. He is one of the best players of all time and is just incredible on that Cavaliers team. If there's one player I would go say, you need to watch him before he basically ends his career, right now it would be LeBron James, because he's coming to the end of his career and you need to see him partially in his prime before he goes away and you regret not watching him live. But at center, to finish off the team, we have Karl Anthony Towns, because I believe on the Timberwolves he'll take such a massive step up and push the Timberwolves to the playoffs single-handedly. Well, not single-handedly. They obviously have Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague, Taj Gibson, Shabazz Muhammad. But he's the best player on that Timberwolves team. I have no doubt about that. Maybe people say Jimmy Butler. I don't think Jimmy Butler even makes an All-NBA team. But moving on to MVP, here we're going to have a dark horse, a runner-up, and then I'm going to say my winner. And, yeah. So my dark horse is the Greek Freak. And this is just because he had an awesome season last year. And I think this year, he could possibly push his team to top 3 seed. I don't want to say where I think the Bucks will finish. However, top 5, top 3, even maybe top 3 seed. And he's definitely someone to look out for because just the wingspan and the ability to also play point guard, he's unguardable. Our runner-up is John Wall, just because I think this year he'll carry his team. That's why I put him on the All-NBA first team. He's going to carry the Wizards so far in the Eastern Conference, which is actually, it got a little bit better when you think about it. It got weaker, but the top 4 teams, I would say, got stronger. And we know the top 4 teams as what? You know them as the Celtics, the Bucks, Wizards, and the Cavs. Those are obviously the top 4 teams, and yeah, we'll look to see what happens there. But the winner is Kawhi Leonard. I think this is the year of Kawhi Leonard. This is the year where Kawhi Leonard goes off. And yeah, I picked Kawhi Leonard as the winner. Just an defensive beast. And he'll take an offensive step up next year because of the fact he'll get more touches on the ball. He also will have a little bit more rest when needed to, which means he'll come out stronger in games. San Antonio, obviously a smaller market. However, he's looking to excel for San Antonio. Now we're going to predict seeding in the Western and Eastern Conference. I guess we have time for that. This will be a longer video. But the Western Conference 15th seed is the Utah Jazz. Just because, as much as I think they're a great team with players like Rudy Gobert, they have players like Rudy Gobert, Rodney Hood, even Ricky Rubio. I think they're going to want to look to tank. Rudy Gobert will have a pretty nice season. However, the Western Conference is stacked. And I just don't see them maybe flip-flopping with the 14th seed. However, they're going to be looking to tank near the end of the season. And, yeah. Yeah. Sure. And the Jazz will be looking to tank in the season because, yeah. Sure, if that works for me. But the 14th seed, or the 14th, I guess, best team, or the second worst team, we should say, is the Dallas Mavericks, because Dennis Smith Jr. and Nerlens Noel and Harrison Barnes can't do much to save their season, because they're also going to be looking to tank near the end of the season. All the teams will be wanting to get either, Luka Doncic, Mohamed Bamba, I can't think of the 2 best players in the draft, Michael Porter or Marvin Bagley. They want the 2 players, Porter or Bagley, but there's other players. This is a very deep draft class. I mean, we'll see in college what happens, but it's a very deep draft class. Trust me. But at 13, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. No playoffs for them. Not even close. Because the Lakers are just not that good. Lonzo Ball, he's a pretty nice player, but he's just not a great player, if you know what I mean. Moving on to number 12, we have the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker, Eric Bledsoe, Josh Jackson. Again, they'll be looking to tank, but they're a little too good to tank. Eric Bledsoe might get injured again, which I would hate, but at the same time, I would love for Tyler Ulis to get even more minutes because I think he's a fantastic player. Next, Isaiah Thomas, watch out for him. Moving on to number 11, we have the Grizzlies, the Memphis Grizzlies. They just lost too many players. They're losing, I hate to say it, but let's put it as this. They lost Zach Randolph, and in return, or they also lost Vince Carter too, and in return, they got, they got Tyreek Evans. Pretty salad, if you ask me. Just kidding, huh? They're losing players like, whatchamacallit. They're losing Marc Gasol to age. Obviously, he is 32 years old, so they're losing him to age. They're also, I guess you could say they're losing Mike Conley to age. He's only 29, I believe, but they're still losing him to age as he's getting a little bit past the prime of his career. But it doesn't matter for him; he's making a lot of money. But they're a pretty good team, not enough to make the playoffs, not even close. And then the 10th seed is the Sacramento Kings. I believe they had one of the best underrated off seasons, bringing guys like Hill, Bogdanovich, Carter, and Randolph, and then also bringing in players like De'Aaron Fox. They also got Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, and Frank Mason. High risk, high reward players that can definitely do bits for them. The Kings, they had a mix of veterans with young players, and their roster is looking great right now. Number 9, who is going to be missing out on the playoffs? Is it the Nuggets? Is it the Pelicans? Maybe the Clippers? Maybe even the Timberwolves? Or maybe even the Kings? Oh wait, the Kings are. Or maybe even, I don't know. The Trailblazers are going to be missing out on the playoffs, though. I have the Trailblazers at my 9th seeded team. Listen, as much as I love Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, their team has just been this for a few years now. And it's just, Yusuf Nurkic will be a great player for them. But they're not, the West got stronger. And with the West getting stronger, teams are going to get weaker. And the Trailblazers got weaker. Because now you have guys, Lillard and McCollum, who just, they can carry the team, and they're going to get even better this season. But they just can't carry a team as if a team with three All-Stars can or whatnot. At number 8, we have the Pelicans. They're barely making the playoffs, kind of like they did, I think, 3 years back. They made the 8th seed. Again, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis. I think they'll have a pretty nice partnership this year. And then they also got Rajon Rondo, Ian Clark, and Tony Allen in free agency. And those 3 players will be pretty incredible for the team. And then Rondo will be playing point guard with shooting guard of Holiday and small forward of Tony Allen. They still need a little 3-point shooting. However, they'll be more traditional, more old school of giving it to the big men and letting them control the game. Because let's be real, they have the 2 probably best power forward, and they probably have the best center and the best power forward in the league. And right now, according to last season, they do. Because DeMarcus Cousins, I do think, had a better season last year than Towns. I think this season, Towns will overtake that. But for now, Pelicans have, for last season, the best power forward and center in the league. At number 7, we have the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are an interesting team. They had such a great offense, I believe 3rd best offense in the league last year, but their defense wasn't that good. Now they've gotten players like Paul Millsap, and they've even brought in defensive specialist Trey Lyles in that trade, if you do remember. Those 2 players will have such an impact in the front court, and I even think, they should trade a player like Juan Hernan Gomez, because you can get valuable pieces out of that. Maybe trade him and Moody and get a better point guard. The Nuggets are an interesting team, though, because their offense is spectacular. They just need better defense, and they've got that defense, so I could see them even getting possibly the 6th seed. But the 6th seed does go to the Los Angeles Clippers. On the other side of Los Angeles than the Lakers, the Clippers are going to get the 6th seed just because they always seem to find a way to make the playoffs. But this year they don't have a Clipper curse. I don't think they should, because they have a player named Milos Teodosic, a possible Rookie of the Year candidate. He's going to look to help out Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. People thought Lob City was gone. It's not, trust me. If you watch the preseason, you can see left, right, center, Milos Teodosic throwing lobs to Griffin and Jordan. At number 5, the 5th seed, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's just because Jeff Teague, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Taj Gibson, Karl-Anthony Towns, can I say anymore? This team is just incredible. Their starting lineup is incredible. People ranked them pretty high last year. They didn't get to that. But this year, when you add a player like Jimmy Butler, you're not going to finish low. At number 4, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder, again, interesting team. But I believe with a possible Coach of the Year candidate, a possible winner, according to me, Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook will sort things out in terms of their isolation and who's going to handle the ball. They'll sort it out. They'll get the 4th seed, which means number 3 seed, that's going to be the Rockets. Just because of the fact that the Rockets are just, the Rockets are the Rockets. James Harden and Chris Paul. That possibly could be the best backcourt in the league. I don't know. Would you say it's the best backcourt in the league? Let me know. But if you're even this far into the video, then let me know. But the Rockets are incredible. And I mean incredible. So, watch the Rockets. Get a league pass for them. They're incredible, if I haven't said that already. That means the number 2 seed is the Spurs, and the number 1 seed is the Warriors. That is how it is every year. But as I said, this is the year of Kawhi Leonard. This is the year he'll get that 2nd seed. And, this is the year he'll win MVP, which means I believe the Spurs will be the 2nd seed. Warriors, number 1. The Warriors are the Warriors. I really want another team to, like the Spurs or the Rockets, to get to that number 1 seed, but it's the Warriors for now. And the Eastern Conference, though, very interesting, especially the Wizards and the Bucks will be interesting to see where they go. At number 15, though, the Bulls. The Bulls looking to tank. That's all I can really say. Chris Dunn could be most improved player, but they're looking to tank. At number 14, we have the Pacers. Again, they're looking to tank, but they have a nice team and are not as bad as the Bulls. They have Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo. At 13, we have the Hawks. Again, looking to tank. Dennis Schroeder, Dwayne Dedmon. That was a sick addition, by the way, in free agency. If you didn't check out my Hawks rebuild, Dwayne Dedmon just played insane, and I think that's what he's going to do in real life. And then you also have, I didn't know if I said this, but Kent Bazemore, and then I did say this, but Dennis Schroeder. They also have Marco Bellinelli. And they also have the Collins kid, I think. The Hawks are a good team, but again, they're going to be looking to tank. Another team looking to tank, the Orlando Magic. All these Eastern Conference teams seem to be looking to tank. The Orlando Magic are a very interesting team. They have Jonathan Isaac and whatnot, but they're just not that good of a team. I hate to tell you. Hate to break it to you, the Magic aren't that good. And like the 3 other teams I said, the Magic are looking to tank. Another team looking to tank, wow, surprising, the New York Knicks. At this point, I don't even know if they're looking to tank. I don't know what they're trying to do, because they just gave away Carmelo Anthony, so that shows me they're looking to tank. But last season, they went out and got all these players like Joakim Noah, who's on a bad contract, and I thought they were trying to tank when they kind of gave away Carmelo, but then I'm like, oh wait, they signed Kent Bazemore for this ridiculous amount of money. At this point, you don't even know what the Knicks are trying to do. They don't have a point guard. Like, Frank Ntilikina will play, but he's just not a good point guard. So that's why I think, tanking. It's what they'll probably do. However, he's just not. They're not that good of a team. At this point, you don't know their identity, what they're trying to do. At number 10, the Pistons. I don't know if they're looking to tank or what they're trying to do. They have a pretty good, nice big three of Avery Bradley, obviously a new addition. Also Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond. That's a very nice big three, especially because they did trade Marcus Morris for Avery Bradley, and that was a sick trade for them because, it makes them maybe push for the playoffs, but I don't really see it happening. But definitely a good team. 76ers at number 9, meaning an interesting team is at number 8. Interesting for the Celtics. I'll let you know why. You probably know by now. But the 76ers, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. They're a little overhyped. Usually point guards take a year to develop in the NBA. I'm not sure Marco Fultz can give instant impact. Ben Simmons definitely will. Ben Simmons, because he's my prediction for Rookie of the Year, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. And don't be surprised if he does win Rookie of the Year. Joel Embiid's going to get injured early. I'm not sure if they can get that playoff seed. At number 8, I say they're making the playoffs, is the Brooklyn Nets. That may be surprising to you, but they have a very nice team. They played, I think, 500 when they had Jeremy Lin in the game, but then when they had Jeremy Lin playing, but then they got Jeremy Lin injured somehow, some way. Why would you do that to your best player? And that completely ruined their season. So they didn't have a season. But now D'Angelo Russell will be playing with Jeremy Lin at shooting guard, so Jeremy Lin will be less on the ball and kind of more playing off ball, which will be interesting to watch. They also have Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and rookie Jared Allen. This is going to be an interesting team to watch. At number 7, we have the Miami Heat. Miami Heat is pretty standard why Goran Dragic, he's aging a little bit, but you also have players like Dion Waiters, Hassan Whiteside, and newly added a player who I was like, before even the draft, I was like, oh, he compares to Hassan Whiteside. Bam Adebayo. He's going to be a solid player for them, possibly even starting at power forward as the season goes along. The Heat, they're going to be definitely a team to watch out for, but with the Heat-Hornets rivalry, that's definitely teams that could swatch. And the Hornets at number 6, again, it's because just like the Nets, when they have their player in, they're just incredible, and that is, I believe, Cody Zeller it is. It's one of the Zellers, and he won't be playing as much because they'll have Dwight Howard, meaning he'll get rest more, which for them is incredible. They also have Kemba Walker, Nicholas Batum, and Malik Monk. Hopefully Malik Monk can do what he repeated in college, coming off the bench and scoring about, 30 points in the third quarter. They weren't quarters in college, second half, though. Or first quarter of the second half. But they're definitely a team to watch out for. At number 5, kind of trying to speed this up now because it's about 40 minutes by now. But the Raptors at number 5, that's pretty set in stone. Because, again, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan are sick players, but they did take a step back. They also have Jonas Valanciunas, but they just need a third star. They need a player like Kevin Durant on their team, or else they're not going to get anywhere. And the 4 is the Bucks, Wizards, Bucks. It's the Wizards. Now, I think John Wall is in contention for MVP, but the Bucks just have more players on their team to possibly do it. And so Wizards at number 4. At number 3, Bucks. And the Bucks have players like Giannis. They also have even Brogdon. You could add Thon Maker's going to take a huge step up. He's also another underdog for most improved player. But Bucks at number 3, I have no doubt about that. I do have a little doubt which the Wizards could take over that number 3 seed. At number 2, we have the Celtics, Gordon Hayward, and then Kyrie Irving. I'm pretty sure they're going to get the 2nd seed. And then, because of their depth, the Cavaliers at number 1. I mean, LeBron James is going to figure out how to do that, even if the team doesn't work out with chemistry reasons, because they have a lot of new personalities and players, but LeBron can obviously control all of that. And, so those are my standings. Also, just to let you know, I will have all of these standings on my blog posts and whatnot. I'll let you know because most people will probably not even be this far into the video. Just say hi in the comment section if you got this far. But in the playoffs, we're going to go round 1 Western and then round 1 Eastern, and then we're going to go to the finals. I have, when the Warriors-Pelicans series, I have the Pelicans losing. Yeah, that's pretty, yeah. The Pelicans are going to lose, but I think, when the Warriors faced the Kings played incredible. Why? Because they had DeMarcus Cousins. Even they struggle a little bit against Anthony Davis, but him combined with DeMarcus Cousins will be pretty incredible. They also have Rondo, as we know from last year and the years before, including playing with the Celtics. He's incredible during the playoffs. He's a playoff player, if that makes sense. They have Tony Allen, who did a great job a few years back. If you remember, the Grizzlies should have won that series against the Warriors, but Mike Conley got injured. They would have won that series, though. Tony Allen, though, played a vital part, though, in shutting down players like Kevin Durant wasn't even on that team. What am I talking about? Players like Klay Thompson and even Harrison Barnes and Andre Iguodala. Yeah. But yeah, I think this will go to 7 games, and the Warriors will be taking it. But watch out for the Pelicans. They could possibly take this series by surprise. Moving on to the second game, or second series, I should say, Thunder versus Timberwolves. The Timberwolves will win the series 4-2, just because they have more of an overall team. I just think Steven Adams has no chance guarding Towns, and same thing. Even though Andre Roberson is a great defensive player, he has no offensive game, and Jimmy Butler is going to counter it with his great offensive game and going to shut down Andre Roberson. Even on, Jimmy Butler's pretty good at defense, but it will probably be a switch where Carmelo plays on Roberson, Carmelo plays on Roberson, even though they're on the same team. How does that even make sense? I meant like Wiggins plays on Roberson, and then you have Butler guarding Anthony, because Butler is a great defensive player and a great offensive player. He's a great two-way player, kind of like Kawhi Leonard, but worse at both. But the Timberwolves do take this series 4-2. Next, we have another Game 7. It's the Rockets-Clippers. It's a Chris Paul redemption, possibly. But the Clippers do take this series, in my opinion, 4-3. Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan are just going to shut down Chris Paul, especially because DeAndre Jordan wanted to leave a few years back. But players like Chris Paul wanted him to stay. DeAndre Jordan will be mad because he's like, I could have gone to the Mavericks. Even though at this point he probably didn't want to go on the Mavericks looking at their team. But, yeah, the Clippers, I think Teo Dosic is just an incredible player once again. I already am liking Teo Dosic so much in the NBA. And I don't think the Rockets, even with James Harden, can stop the Clippers. And I think they're going to get out of the first round. Congratulations. But I think the Spurs will definitely beat the Nuggets. I have 4-1. The Nuggets will possibly steal the game, considering, I think they're going to give rest to LaMarcus Aldridge and Pau Gasol, because they're getting on that older side. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, Cavaliers versus Nets. Cavaliers easily sweep the Nets 4-0. The Nets they're just not as good as the Cavaliers. Put it as that. Moving on, Wizards, Raptors. I got the Wizards easily winning this series 4-1. Raptors could possibly steal the game, especially with Jonas Valanciunas playing against Marcin Gortat. However, John Wall is just too good of a player. Will beast on Kyle Lowry. What can I think of Kyle Lowry? John Wall is just gonna easily sweep past Kyle Lowry on every play. But not sweep, because they're not gonna sweep. But yeah, whatever. Yeah. Then we have the Bucks Hornets. Bucks are gonna win 4-2 because Giannis, because Brogdon, because Maker, because Giannis. Also Parker, but Giannis. And Middleton, but in Giannis. He's just everywhere on the court. He is the NBA's N'Golo Kante. Just because he's everywhere. He can play every position. He's just a beast. If you know soccer, you know my reference. If you don't, well, that's awkward. Celtics Heat. Celtics will take the series 4-2. The Celtics, a better team, really, than the Heat. The Heat take 2 games just because they have a pretty nice all-around chemistry team. Hassan Whiteside, too, possibly the Defensive Player of the Year. But the Celtics definitely take this series, no doubt. Round 2, Western Conference, we have the Warriors beating the Timberwolves 4-1. I have not a shadow in a doubt that the Warriors will beat the Timberwolves. They're just such a good team, and it will be hard for anyone to stop them. And it will be very hard to stop the Warriors-Cavs finals. But, yeah, the Warriors beat the Timberwolves 4-1. The Warriors are just such a good team. Towns will have a great series because he'll be playing against JaVale McGee or Zaza Pachulia. If he plays against JaVale McGee, I'm telling you, JaVale McGee could be a great player. I had a blog post where I was like, he could possibly win he could possibly be an all-star. But Steve Kerr's a bad coach and doesn't want to do that. And I say Steve Kerr's a bad coach because, what's his name? I can't think of the Lakers coach. But, why can't I think of the Lakers coach? I can picture him and everything, but he led the team to an undefeated season. Steve Kerr came back and, yeah, he ruined that. The other series, though, in the Western Conference, Clippers-Spurs. Spurs sweep the Clippers. As I said, the year of Kawhi Leonard, beasts and beasts. Spurs win 4-0. In the Eastern Conference, Cavaliers, Wizards. Wizards are going to put up an incredible fight, but they are going to lose 4-2. Cavaliers, just LeBron James, he wants to go back to the finals. And the other series, the Bucks and Celtics. I have the Bucks taking this in 7 games just because, again, Giannis. Giannis is the NBA's N'Golo Kante, if you know soccer. Again, plays every position, just everywhere on the court. He's just a beast, and no one on the Celtics can really stop that. Kyrie's not known for his